Our program is about to get started. Please take your seats. Throughout the course of human history, there have always been those who inspire. With their ideas.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
With their talent. With their performance.
Young, back to throw. In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again, to the 35, cuts back at the 30, to the 20, the 50, the 10. He dives, touchdown, 49.
And with their accomplishments.
An iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator. Are you getting it? These are not three separate devices. This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone.
Today, we gather once again to honor those who lead the way here in Idaho. Men and women at the forefront of innovation, invention, and exploration. People who imagine something different and have forever changed the world. This is the Idaho Technology Council Hall of Fame Celebration, sponsored by HP, featuring the Idaho Innovation Awards presented by Stoll Reeves. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Carolyn Hawley.
Awesome open, didn't you think? I want to hear those hands together because you're going to be clapping for a lot of people tonight. Thank you to our production crew. That was awesome. You are truly in for a spectacular evening. And I am really lucky and really honored to have been asked to be a co-host here for the 4th year in a row. And the reason why I think it's so wonderful is for me, to tell you the truth, because you can't believe what this night means to me. If you could be up here looking out at all the incredible people in this room right now, my goodness, we can do anything in this world, can't we? When you see all the leaders here. In fact, Brett, will you Bring up the house lights. I want you to see who is all in this room tonight. You guys are amazing people. Take a look around. I mean, you lead in all parts of your life. Yeah, say hi to each other. I love it. Shall I be really honest with you? I know some of you might know that I spent a little over 30 years on the front lines of television here in Boise, and I covered kind of the evolution of your world, that tech world right there. But tonight, and I retired about 2.5 years ago, and I am with St. Alphonsus now. But tonight, what I realized is there is a whole new world when it comes to technology in the state of Idaho, because there's a ton of new faces out here tonight that I didn't know. I don't know you yet. I'm looking forward to getting to know you. Welcome to the greatest state, the state of Idaho. And tonight we're going to celebrate all that you do because our theme is inspire. And when I had those house lights come up, I hope you got to lock eyes with others, because truly you are the leaders of inspiration in the state of Idaho. So I officially welcome you tonight. I hope you love this show. Let me give you a little rundown of what is going to go on tonight. You're going to meet, talk about inspiration. You are going to meet two amazing teachers who strive to inspire what I call our precious cargo, and that's the children in Idaho. So you will meet them in our Indeed Awards tonight. Talk about inspired. The Idaho Innovation Awards are tonight, and 15 incredible Idaho companies have been nominated in one of 5 categories for innovation. Wait till you see what they've created. You may have never heard about it before, but that's going to change tonight by the end of the show. Also tonight, NFL Football Hall of Fame quarterback Steve Young is in the house. This is so cool. You were busy talking when they showed this great highlight. Oh, well, thank you, Steve. In fact, when I met you in the green room, I thought, he looks just like he did when he played in the NFL. You look amazing, too. Thank you. Your highlight was absolutely fabulous up here. We loved it. And you know what? We look forward to what you have to say later on tonight. I'm sure we'll be inspired. The theme, inspired by your talk. To cap it all off, we are in for a treat as we induct 2 men from Idaho into the 2018 Hall of Fame Awards right here. Now, these 2 gentlemen changed and continue to change what it means for us to go to the grocery store. You will learn about Joe Albertson, the man who put the word super in supermarket. Then we get to go shopping with Bob Miller, chairman of Albertsons, the second largest privately held company in America, headquartered right here in Boise, Idaho. And you know what's even more inspirational about everything I just mentioned right here? All of that calls Idaho its home, except for Steve Young. And maybe we can change that by the end of the night. Okay, we'll see. Anyway, we are happy, really happy to have you here. A show of hands to who has been at the Hall of Fame gala that we have in past years. Oh, awesome. Then you're probably going to know what I'm talking about, because I'm about to talk about a fella that I don't know where he's at in the building. He is my co-host. He is the founder and the president of the Idaho Technology Council, Jay Larson. And yes, but you know, he tends to ham it up a little bit when he's on the stage. Would you agree with me? Do you remember the year that Dick Fosbury was here and Jay asked Dick to show him the Fosbury flop right here on this stage? Anybody remember that one? How about last year when we had our fabulous inductees? Who can forget those sideburns of that great aircraft designer, Burt Rutan, and then our incredible astronaut in space, Barbara Morgan? Both of them, incredible inductees. But do you remember Jay last year here? Yeah, he thought he'd come to us via the International Space Station. I don't know if you recall this one. And so, well, the landing right out here from the Grove didn't happen real well for him. He kind of crash landed on that, took a couple of cars out, skidded across the parking lot, finally made it to us. And yeah, we had him last year. I told you he's a little bit of a ham, right? Well, the problem is I haven't had a chance to see him tonight, and I told him, Jay, our theme is inspire. That's what we need to talk about tonight, and we need to make sure that all the folks that are out here tonight understand that this is an incredible time to talk about who inspires us. So, Jay, I'm nervous. I really do not know where Jay is at tonight, and I'm wondering if he's just going to leave me up on this stage. Oh, no. Really? Can I have the house lights up a little bit so everybody can see what's going on? Are you kidding me? Jay Larson leading a marching band out to the stage. Oh, and we have the BSU cheer squad that's here with us tonight. Jay. Woo! Oh my goodness, what are you what's this all about tonight?
Carol, this is all about inspiring. Look how awesome the BSU Boise State cheerleaders. Let's hear it for the Boise State cheerleaders. Woo! And Carolyn, the Bishop Kelly pep band. Aren't they wonderful?
Bishop Kelly,
whoa!
All right.
This is about inspiration, ladies and gentlemen, and we're here, Carolyn, so this is wonderful. So
that is awesome. Well, you know what, Jay? I'm thinking you should share some news about BK when it comes to technology and our students and everything else.
It's wonderful. Bishop Kelly opened the Father Wilson Science and Technology Wing this last fall. So congratulations to Bishop Kelly for doing that.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Carolyn, Boise State University, actually, their computer science department went from having 20 graduates a few years ago to about 110 right now, on their way to 200. Major work at Boise State. The other part that I wanted to also mention is that we also have, Boise State has another deal, and it's the material science, where $25 million was contributed by the Micron Foundation to basically have the Micron Center for Materials Research. So thank you very much to Micron for that. So a lot of wonderful things, amazing things.
A lot of things inspiring us, and I have an idea. We're not going to let those cheerleaders go just yet, are we?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay, what's next on your agenda, Jay?
We have something. I know this isn't everybody in the audience, but please come along with us on this. It's the Boise State fight song. Let's go!
Thank you. Well, you never know what Jay Larson is going to be up to, will ya? And thank you to all of you spending your evening with us. I could tease you all night, Steve Young, and not look at you, but there's a big game coming up in a couple of weeks with your alma mater. Oh, we'll talk about that later? Okay, very good. Well, anyway, because we're moving along so quickly, we were going to take a break right now and have you eat. I think you've already gotten to start, haven't you? So shall we just keep this show going? I like evenings like that, don't you? Okay, so I need to tell my co-host that he needs to come back up here because the show is going to continue with him or without him. So whether that message has gotten to him or not, I am not sure. So let me go on because I was going to ask Jay if he had recovered or not. Shall I tell you his line that he was supposed to say, and then you can all tease him? It's in small writing, so let me put my glasses on here. He said, when I say, have you recovered, Jay? He says, I think I may have confused inspire with perspire. So we'll let that be one of the untold lines for tonight. Okay, with that in mind, actually, I was told that there was a request from the audience. Is that in the cards here? Where's there what is, Tim? It's a request from you, from the very back? Okay, thank you. Let me read what this is. Okay, you can't just play the Boise State fight song. Let me hear it for the University of Idaho Vandals. Cue it up, Brent! Go ahead, Vandals! Request from the audience tonight.
Carolyn, we have another request.
We have another request.
This is amazing.
The Bengals want to be represented
Let's
here
go Bengals!
as well. And we've got it for you!
Okay.
Wait, there's another request in the house. Could you hold your request, Steve? I'm sorry, we haven't brought you on stage yet.
BYU.
Well, we'll see.
How many people want the BYU fight song? Rise and shout, right, Steve? All right, this is funny. I'm going to say, Carolyn, I have to do it right now. We actually have not been able to work with Steve on this, but we actually had that later after you came down and spoke, Steve, we were going to have you bring up a deal up here that had requested the fight song. So you beat us right to it.
Yeah.
Good job, Steve. Steve Young for you. Okay, it's good. All right.
All right, back to our script here. We're going to just continue the program so that we can move things along tonight.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. You know, we have a spectacular night in store for us. We're excited to honor both Joe Albertson and Bob Miller, and as the 2018 ITC Hall of Fame inductees, and also excited to recognize the Idaho Innovation Award winners and Indeeds Award winners. We are also honored to have with us distinguished guests. Let's go ahead and see about that right now. If you're here, there are a lot of elected officials that are here right now. Would you please stand so we can recognize what you contribute to our great state? Please. Please stand up if you're some elected officials that are here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Representative. Thank you. And so far, the Lieutenant Governor was going to be with us, but I think he's coming in from another event. But I also like the ITC Board of Trustees. These are the people that really help drive our initiatives with the ITC. So please stand up if you were the ITC Board of Trustees. Thank you very much. Lights back up. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We really appreciate the work that you do. And then Carolyn, we have past Hall of Fame inductees and honorees here that have already been inducted in the Hall of Fame. So I'd like to just go through a few of them. Steve Meyer,
who is the co-founder of Advanced Input Device. Steve, thanks for coming back.
Thank you, Steve. Don Kemper.
Don, founder of HealthWise. Great to see you.
Barbara Morgan.
Barbara, are you here? Barbara, there you are.
Thank you, Barbara.
Our first astronaut and space teacher in space. She's still flying.
Jack Lemley.
Jack Lemley, are you in the house, Jack? Are you here? Please stand up. I'm hearing clapping over there.
Jack. Okay, thank you, Jack.
Jack, with our English tunnel creating that. That's wonderful.
And Faisal Shah.
Faisal, you here as well? Thanks for being here. Mark
Thanks,
Monitor.
Thank you very much, you guys, for coming on, and those past inductees. Special note with Jack. Jack's been here on every one since 2011 when he was inducted, so
Really?
that's a great deal.
Excellent.
Also, our sponsors, we couldn't do this without the Hall of Fame and the Idaho Innovation Awards, without our sponsors. So we'd like to acknowledge HP, Stoll Reeves, Micron, which will be celebrating its 40-year anniversary over on the Capitol steps tomorrow, Idaho Central Credit Union, St. Luke's Health Systems, Involta, Deloitte, AT&T, Garrigan Lyman Group, thank you very much. The J.R. Simplot Company, truckstop.com, okay, Idaho Digital Learning Academy, the Idaho National Laboratory and the Center for Advanced Energy Studies, Gardner Company, and HP. So thank you to all of those who do it. We couldn't do this without you. Thank you. But enough of me talking, Carolyn.
Okay, well, we're going to get to our Indeed Awards. And so we talk about inspiration, and we're going to talk about teachers here with those awards. So I have to ask you, think back, Jay. Think back.
Yes.
And who was a teacher who really inspired you, and why?
Well, how many people went to Boise High that are here? Right? How many people remember Mrs. Chastain? Was anybody here when Mrs. Chastain went through? She taught American political economic system. And she was fantastic. She wore a bun on her head,
Yeah.
and she called everybody Mr. and Miss, like Mr. Larson or Miss Holly. But she inspired me to learn everything about it from the start of our forefathers of this country to where the system is today with politically and economically. How about you, Carol?
My favorite teacher?
Yes.
Well, I didn't grow up here, so I can't say. Did you go to my school to remember her? But Mrs. Finley.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Finley was my choir teacher. And you know what I remember most about her? Because I was like 14 maybe when I first got into choir, is that she believed in me. And I remember when I graduated, she told me, don't stop here. Let your talents go farther than the stage. And she was the one that told me to get into television.
Wow.
So
Mrs.
look
Finley.
at that. Don't teachers inspire you? You never know. And I think for teachers, you never know what impact
You're right.
you're going to have. As it says, teaching is the one profession that creates all other professions. So, Jay, with that in mind, we are going to begin our awards this evening by shining a spotlight on two teachers who are inspiring students here in Idaho. To tell us more about this year's Indeed's Awards, we have Dee Mooney, the Executive Director of the Micron Foundation. Dee? Hi, lovely lady.
In our great state, more than 6,000 of our best paying jobs went unfilled last year. With incredible growth in industries like ours, we need to build strong foundations for Idaho workforce in science, technology, engineering, and math. I am proud to partner with the Idaho STEM Action Center and other industry leaders to highlight the importance of STEM education. In last year alone, efforts by the STEM Action Center helped support over 400,000 students in Idaho. And those students were taught by some fabulous educators, and that's why I'm here tonight. The industry's Excellent Educator Dedicated to STEM Award, that's what Indeeds stands for, is given to Idaho educators who exemplify the talent, dedication, and passion for giving their students the best STEM education and bringing industry into their classroom. Together with my peers and other organizations across Idaho, we selected 2 teachers to recognize tonight. I would like to acknowledge these outstanding educators now. In the K through 6 category, I would like to introduce John Barenberg from Marcine Elementary School. I'm going to bring John up in just a moment. So let me tell you a little bit about John. He has proven himself to be an innovative leader for STEM education, not just in his school, but in his entire community. Not only has he taught 3rd grade for 31 years, John has been instrumental in building a one-of-a-kind after-school and community education program. By partnering with local businesses, community groups, government, John has brought students to the table with parents and local leaders to learn about rockets. We actually had our Micron Foundation rocket lesson out with John. 3D printing, agriculture, and weather. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome John Barenberg. Okay, I found that. And now in the 7th through 12th grade category, I would like to recognize Laura Womack from Lakeside Junior Senior High School in Plummer, Idaho. So as Laura's making her way up here, let me tell you that she has been the recipient of several prestigious training and research experiences, from collaborative research opportunities with NASA to her National Geographic trek to learn about Arctic ecology firsthand. Her passion for instruction shows the ways she provides quality experiences to her students. Laura uses digital methods to connect her students with astronauts, forensic scientists, and other STEM professionals. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our teacher, Laura Womack. I'm really pleased to let you know that as part of this recognition, each of these teachers will receive $2,000, just a $2,000 personal award. Then they will also receive $2,000 toward a national STEM conference to help build their professional knowledge. And each of their schools will also get $2,000. Ensuring that STEM education is a priority in our communities would not be possible with organizations that we partner with. My organization, Micron, also Idaho National Lab, Idaho Power, Vinyl, the Discovery Center of Idaho, Blocksmith, Trailhead, and the Idaho Technology Council. I believe that it's our responsibility to take a part in shaping our students' STEM careers. And if you ever want to get more involved, please go to Idaho, or please visit the Idaho STEM Action Center. They do a fabulous job throughout the state, and you can just go to stem.idaho.gov. Let's give another warm round of applause for these excellent teachers. Thank you.
Good to see you here. And also, thank you, Micron. I wanted to get that in as well. So thank you, D. Mooney and Micron. That's really wonderful. And my goodness, wouldn't every teacher like to earn that kind of a award tonight? Okay, how many of you saw that beautiful piano as you walked in? That was really neat, wasn't it? Well, guess what? Dunkley Music is going to give away one evening plus 2 additional days with that handcrafted Steinway & Sons Grand Player piano. I like that. Thank you, Brent. All transportation and setup is provided by Dunkley Music, and so most of you entered the drawing as you arrived this evening, and I know you've got a plate in front of you, so this is going to be really difficult. Hopefully you haven't poured your hot coffee yet, but there is one winner in the room who, if you look under your coffee cup saucer and you see that there is a sticker there, would you please stand up? Oh, no. That was the wrong drawing. Don't look at your coffee cup saucer yet. Because I have a winner that they just told me about. It's Joan Boren. Joan, are you here? Yes, guess what? You get to play your piano for a couple of nights. So, congratulations to you. Will you please go see Melody Johnson in the lobby near the piano? And if you looked under your saucer, just wait till I tell you what you're going to win later on tonight. Because we're going to give away some awesome prizes tonight. So we know that Idaho is becoming a powerhouse when it comes to technology and innovation. Wait till you see what these Idaho companies have created in the Innovation Awards division. You are going to be inspired. Stoll Reeves brings us the Idaho Innovation Awards tonight. So will you please welcome our two MCs to the stage, Stoll Reeves corporate attorneys, Brian Larson and Nick Taylor.
Hey, we got walk-up music.
Yeah, we forgot the band. That wasn't quite the warm welcome I expected. Haven't they heard of us?
Nah, but we haven't heard of them either, so it doesn't really matter. Thank you, Carolyn. We're thrilled to be here tonight to celebrate the ITC's inductees as well as the Idaho Innovation Awards finalists and winners.
Over the last 13 years of the program, we've learned about remarkable innovations and accomplishments from all over the great state of Idaho.
And this year is no exception. But before we announce this year's winners, we'd like to thank the organizations that have helped Stoll Reeves make the Idaho Innovation Awards possible.
First, we'd like to recognize our presenting partners, Trailhead, and of course, the Idaho Technology Council. Now, I'm a little confused as to why Jay felt it was necessary to bring a band, because I've always been under the impression that Jay does a fine job tooting his own horn. Now, we were told that Jay Larson would provide all of the humor tonight, and so we didn't have to worry about that. Obviously, that was our misunderstanding.
We'd also like to thank Deloitte for serving as our accounting partner who tallied the votes. We're told that Russia definitely did not influence the results. And we won't be opening any envelopes tonight, so we should be okay.
Yeah. And finally, we'd like to thank the members of our selection committee, seriously. About 35 professionals and industry experts who dedicated their time to evaluate the nominees and vote on the finalists and winners in each category. Please, let's give this entire team a round of applause. Thank you.
Now let's get to the awards. 3 finalists in each category were named last month, and they are listed in your program.
Now, this is going to be a little different than in years past. Our producers, in their infinite wisdom, decided that instead of having a professional narrator with videos introducing each finalist, they would just have us two read about each finalist while videos played in the background.
They also encourage us to make jokes throughout, making fun of each other.
They said it would be like the Oscars.
Yeah, just like the Oscars.
And so I asked the producers, have you ever seen the Oscars? And they said, no way, man, those are terrible.
The point being, no matter what happens from here on out, it's not our fault.
Exactly.
It's the producer's fault.
It's the producer's fault. Just remember that. Now, we will go category by category and tell you a little bit about each finalist before announcing the winner. Company representatives, as we begin your category, please make your way to the left side of the stage so you're ready to come up and accept your award.
Our first category tonight is Commercialized Innovation of the Year. This category is designed to recognize innovations from established companies that are on the market and generating revenue.
The first finalist in this category is Multi-Grip Work Holding by VersaBelt Robotics. VersaBelt is transforming manufacturing. Their multi-grip work holding is the first major technology breakthrough in more than 30 years in the field of machine tool automation. What they do is build robots that can switch between multiple parts through multiple operations while unattended. This is lowering the cost of introducing new parts into machine tool automation by a factor of 10 times or more compared to their competitors. This technology is making automation possible in high-mix and low-volume manufacturing environments.
And Nick, I heard the Platinum model will not only mow your lawn, but will also write jokes for Jay Larson. Jay, you should have never given us to the mic. Our second finalist is Retrolux by Retrolux Inc. This is a lighting and control sales platform. As most startups go, Retrolux began as just an idea in 2012. Founder Leif Elgin saw a need for connecting vendors and buyers with contracting companies that install lighting in commercial and industrial buildings. The significance of this innovation hits 2 home runs. The first is it decreases the cost and time required to design, sell, install, and maintenance of energy systems in commercial buildings. The second is the ability to scale emerging clean and smart technologies across existing building assets all over the world.
Yeah, and as you can see from Leif's whiteboard, the business plan is super simple, right, Leif?
Super simple.
The third finalist in this category is Submersible and Direct Burial Splice Connector by Melanie Connectors. Melanie is changing the standard in electrical connection technology. This new patented device offers a faster, safer, and more cost-effective way to transfer power. As you'll see in the video here in just a second, it takes less than 1 minute to install, and it's even waterproof. The Melanie connector simplifies work as you no longer need specialty tools and setup to make a proper electrical connection.
Nick, I mean, this product looks great. I love the product. But as lawyers, I'm not sure we understand the value of doing things faster. And the commercialized innovation of the year winner is Multi-Grip Work Holding by Versabuilt Robotics. Accepting the trophy is CEO Al Youngworth.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored to be up here. I've been in technology in this state for 30 years, and I can't tell you what a pleasure it's been here. It's such a great community, such a great place to work and live, and just very honored to be here. I'm very proud of my team for what we've accomplished, and we're out here to change the world and do it through technology. So thank you very much.
All right, and we're going to take a break for the evening and resume tomorrow night. Have a nice night, y'all. So our next category is Consumer Product of the Year. This category recognizes innovations in consumer products that are meeting a market need and represent a fundamental change in the industry or space.
The first finalist is Ammon Fiber Optics by the City of Ammon. You may not think of a municipality providing a consumer product, but the City of Ammon has become the leader in innovation regarding fiber to the home. We all rely so heavily on the internet that it is important to have high-speed internet access these days. So the city brought in fiber lines to the home that are owned by the homeowner. They use an opt-in model, so only those that want fiber will get it, and it is open access, which means that all service providers on Ammon Fiber use the same fiber lines. They are able to bring the residents of Ammon the cheapest broadband fiber in the country, and they get to choose their provider through an online portal. This model has been so successful that it is being duplicated by cities large and small throughout the country.
So I had a lot more confidence in this joke before that I saw that the mayor of Boise's in the audience.
Yeah.
But what this means is while the cities of Boise, Meridian, and Garden City are rolling out e-scooters, the city of Ammon's been rolling out fiber to the community.
That went better than I expected.
I think I technically live in Garden City.
I think so. You do now.
The second finalist is Expandals by Grow5. How many parents out there feel like they're always buying new shoes for their kids because they're growing out of them? I just let my daughter go barefoot. Expandals are the solution to that. They are shoes that grow 5 sizes, so buy one pair and they will last your child for years. The founder, Kenton Lee, first came up with the idea for the shoe that grows 10 years ago when he was living in Kenya and saw so many kids wearing shoes that were too small for their feet. Expandals are the commercial version of that product. Like the shoe that grows, the expandals adjust at the toe and heel for length and sides for width. After years of collaboration with experts, designers, and manufacturers, the expandals are comfortable, easy to use, and water-friendly. The sustainability of the design leads to less waste, replacing 3, 4, or more pairs of other shoes for a growing child.
Nick, you know that every shoe company needs an endorsement deal, and word is that Expandals just signed an exclusive deal with Bigfoot. The third finalist is... Carolyn got it. She thought it was funny. The third finalist is Kodiak by Energy. The Kodiak is the world's lightest weight, most compact, expandable, and modular portable solar generator system. It offers unmatched off-grid portability for power anywhere, anytime. The Kodiak can be charged via solar panels, car chargers, or wall outlets. You and I would probably think of using this product while camping, traveling, or during power outage due to a storm or emergency. Energy seeks to not only put this product in the hands of everyday consumers, but in the hands of those throughout the world that are living in poverty or affected by natural disasters. Through their Power for Life campaign, Energy donated power generator kits to families in Puerto Rico affected by Hurricane Maria last year.
So I think in addition to an offensive line, this is next year's must-have Boise State tailgate item.
Hey, where are those Bengals? They need...
And so the winner of this year's Consumer Product of the Year is Ammon Fiber Optics by the City of Ammon. Accepting the award is Ammon Mayor Sean Coletti. Congratulations.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they say there.
Wow. Thank you so much for this recognition. We really believe in the Ammon model. It is something that I think nationwide is starting to be copied for small cities as one of the most cost-effective ways to get fiber to the home and to businesses. And we're just really pleased to be recognized here today. Thank you so much to everyone. And we look forward to the rest of this event, and thanks to all the other nominees. Thanks.
Our next category is Early Stage Innovation of the Year. This category recognizes innovations that are less than 5 years old, that are not yet commercialized, or are just emerging from R&D stages.
The first finalist in this category is Additive Manufacturing Evaporative Casting, or AMEC, by Skold LLC. Metal additive manufacturing is a rapidly growing industry, but it's costly and too slow for mass volume production. AMEC is a brand new process designed to overcome these problems. Rather than 3D print metal directly, this process prints the biopolymer PLA. The molten metal is poured directly on the plastic. The plastic vaporizes, leaving behind a metal that solidifies into an exact replica. Successful trials have been conducted in gray iron, ductile iron, brass, plain carbon, steel, and stainless steel. Skold is the only company known to be pursuing this method of additive manufacturing, and this process can produce material quicker and cost half as much as other methods.
Nick, that's one hot product. The second finalist is Continuous Fiber 3D Printing by Continuous Composites. They own the earliest granted patents in the world on continuous fiber 3D printing. They're developing a revolutionary technology that combines high-strength, low-weight composite materials with a 3D printing process using industrial robots. Traditional composite manufacturing techniques are slow, labor-intensive, and extremely costly. but this new method reduces costs and time to produce a composite part. It removes the need for a mold and uses off-the-shelf, cost-effective continuous fibers like carbon, glass, and Kevlar. It can also print fibers such as copper wire or fiber optics, as it removes the need for manual labor because robots are printing the composite structures. The applications are endless and is the future of manufacturing.
And as your parents always said, continuous fiber will make you lighter, faster, and stronger. Who wrote these?
This is bad. Jay must have wrote that one.
Oh, I guess it's me.
It's you.
Okay. I was distracted by my bad joke. The third finalist in this category is low temp lean by Idaho National Laboratory. This is a revolutionary electrochemical refining process that converts natural gas fractions into chemical building blocks for plastics and synthetic fuels. Ethane, a major component of natural gas liquids, offers a simpler hydrocarbon to refine than oil. Once it's converted to ethylene, it becomes a primary building block for products ranging from polymers and plastics to antifreeze and adhesives. For decades, ethane has been converted to ethylene the same way oil is processed, with industrial steam cracking and extremely high temperatures. The low temp lean process uses 65% less energy and reduces carbon emissions by as much as 72% than the traditional steam cracking process.
To be honest, neither one of us was smart enough to make a joke about INL. I know, surprising, right? And the early stage innovation winner is Continuous Composites. Accepting the trophy is CEO Tyler Alvarado.
Well, thank you all. This is honestly an honor. We feel truly blessed every day to be building this type of revolutionary technology in this beautiful state of Idaho. We're actually up in Coeur d'Alene, 1 block from the lake, so thank you. It's bringing companies, huge companies from all over the world to Idaho to see us. We're extremely confident in the technology, and it's going to revolutionize manufacturing as we know it today. And we couldn't do it without the team. The original inventor, Ken, who's from Idaho, and then Colin, and we have about 25 other employees back in Coeur d'Alene. So honestly, all of this goes to the team. We really appreciate it. Let me get a photo with the team real quick, actually. Hold on one sec.
Yeah!
Woo! Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you having us.
And now on to our next category, Innovative Company of the Year. This category is about more than just a product. It's designed to recognize companies that use innovative solutions to overcome business obstacles.
Our first finalist is a joint effort by Intermountain 3D and Brownfield's Prosthetics and Orthotics. Together, they are using the latest 3D limb scanning technology, along with advanced engineering and 3D printing processes, to provide innovative prosthetic solutions to amputees. Eric Hinderegger, certified prosthetist orthotist at Brownfields, felt there had to be a way to incorporate modern manufacturing techniques into traditional prosthetic production. First, he worked to replace the manual measurement process with highly precise 3D scanning. Then he found a partner in Brian Hoffman, president of Intermountain 3D, that augments his designs with digital CAD and 3D printing. The culture at both of these companies is one of openness, exploration, and curiosity to solve big problems. It has only been by working collaboratively that they are able to design and manufacture new solutions in an ancient industry.
To be clear, that's not footage from Narcos, that's their actual lab. The second finalist, thank you, it's a slow burn. The second finalist is Sloan Security Group. This company was established in 1991 and first worked in the forestry industry. Over the years, the company has grown into an international leader in the design, building, and maintenance of critical, high-security perimeter security. You're going to want to make sure you watch this video here. Today, Sloan Security Group employs over 55 people and is known in the high-security industry for its innovation. For example, they patented a crash barrier system that uses logging technology to protect Air Force test sites. Sloan is in charge of providing high security to high-profile campuses such as the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, and the U.S. State Department, and a number of other large entities and corporations. By solving perimeter security problems, they ultimately save lives, and they address national security issues on a large scale for a small business based in Idaho.
Wow. Nick, did you see that truck? After watching this video, I had one of those installed at my house for when my daughter's 17-year-old boyfriend tries to stop by. It's programmed to automatically deploy at 11:30.
Smart, that's smart.
The third finalist is Wilkinson Baking. Imagine walking into a grocery store and picking up a loaf of bread that was baked fresh before your eyes in just minutes. The mini bakery does just that. As a customer, you know exactly where, when, and how your bread was made. The fully automated bakery produces 10 loaves an hour. All measurements are unique by recipe and are constantly monitored by the system. The bakery alerts an employee when machine needs more mix or when the bread cabinet needs to be emptied. The machine is even self-cleaning. By baking bread throughout the day, customers always have access to a fresh loaf. This model also cuts down on the transportation costs and fuel of shipping millions of loaves of bread across the country. It also decreases waste of bread being left on the shelf past its sell-by date.
You could even say, if you were our producers, that it's the greatest invention since sliced bread. Thanks, Mom. And the winner of Innovative Company of the Year is Sloan Security Group. Accepting the trophy is Bryce Sloan, CEO.
Wow. This is really amazing. We have such a great team. We have over 61 employees now. We started with 4 brothers, and now 35 of those are in California, Silicon Valley, San Jose. We're working all over the world. Our design particularly is now helping. We've gone from a forestry company. You can tell I didn't prepare this at all. I didn't really think we were going to win. But when you start out in forestry and then go to fencing, and now as a national security company, we're helping clients in Chicago and Bank of Mellon in New York City, helping them understand how vehicles travel towards can create threats around facilities, and building systems and then maintaining those systems so that facilities have the security they need. So this means a lot to me along the coming from where we have and then maintaining a family business that contributes to the community as well. So thank you very much.
Our final category tonight is Innovator of the Year. This category recognizes innovative professionals who demonstrate innovation through their leadership and accomplishments.
The first innovator finalist is Ryan DeLuca, CEO of Black Box VR. Ryan has a passion of fitness that led him to start bodybuilding.com in 1999. He was CEO for 17 years, and during that time, the company grew from a startup in his garage to 800 team members and nearly 500 million in annual sales. After a short retirement, he co-founded Black Box VR with Preston Lewis. They are creating the first resistance training experience inside virtual reality. Ryan also founded VR Fitness Insider, a sister company to Black Box VR, that shows why consumers should incorporate VR training into their workout regimens. This site has been instrumental in educating the public about fitness use for VR technology. Ryan is a hands-on founder and CEO. He likes to be involved in all aspects of the business, from game design to engineering and operations. He empowers his employees the liberty to come up with solutions and solve problems. And he's an amazing follow on Instagram.
I've been sucking in all night. Now I can finally let it out. So Nick and I have been using Black Box VR for a few months now, and Nick, you look awesome. But I'm not quite sure we're virtually fit yet. The next innovator is Tracy Lotz, founder and CEO of LiveRes. You could call Tracy a serial entrepreneur. He came from humble beginnings and worked hard over the years to start various companies. But it was in the early 1990s that Tracy was introduced to the internet. He saw an opportunity in the vacation rental market and launched First Choice Vacation Properties in 1995. He was one of the first people to provide a platform for vacation rental managers to advertise their properties online. LiveRes grew out of the need for a combined platform for consumer booking as well as back-end management for property managers. Today, LiveRes is the world's most used software for managing and marketing vacation rental homes online. The two main qualities that make Tracy so innovative are his vision and discipline.
And as you can see from the video, Tracy always ensures that his team has a wonderful assortment of t-shirts. The third innovator is Dr. Hussein Muradi. He is the Chief Wireless Technical Director in National and Homeland Security at Idaho National Laboratory. Dr. Muradi has been with INL for 8 years, and during that time has been issued 5 US patents with 3 additional patents pending. He has been working on technology called wireless spectrum communications that is based on a patented spectrum agile algorithm and is under serious consideration for applications in 5G. His efforts have strengthened INL's position as a national leader in wireless research. The growth of this area of work is projected to be millions of dollars over the next years that will fund further research at INL. Dr. Muradi is a true professional who takes great care to ensure the highest degree of quality in everything he produces and is a great mentor and example to his research staff at INL.
Hands down, Dr. Muradi has the fastest Wi-Fi in eastern Idaho. Maybe Idaho.
Yeah.
And the winner of the Innovator of the Year is Tracy Lotz, founder and CEO of LiveRes. Accepting the award on Tracy's behalf is Tina Upson.
24 karat magic in the air. Head to toe so clear. Look out. Pop, pop, it's showtime.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to accept this award on behalf of Tracy and our LiveRes team. I was thinking about, we're usually, we're never the bride, we're always the bridesmaid with this thing. So of course Tracy's not here tonight. And so I was thinking about, oh man, what if I had to say something? And there's a quote that I read long ago that I believe in, that Henry Ford once said, innovation without execution is just hallucination. And I think about that and how important it is to have good ideas and how valuable they can be, and how everybody has the buzzword of knowing the why of your company and why you do what you do. But without people to execute on that vision or on that why, there's no value in it at all. And at LiveRes, we have a team that ruthlessly executes. They completely take individual responsibility for their personal contribution to our brand. And because of that, it's allowed us to be the industry frontrunner in a really incredibly competitive space. So thank you, everybody. We really appreciate it.
So thank you very much. Please join us in a final round of applause for all of the finalists and winners of this year's 2018 Idaho Innovation Awards.
Now, before I turn it back to Jay, I just want to confirm a rumor. Jay. Now I heard that, and tell me if this is right, but you only booked Steve Young as our keynote, and Steve, we're really excited about hearing from you when you couldn't get Kellen Moore.
Well, it's interesting. I have Kellen on the phone right now. Kellen, we'd like to, no, he's not here. No, but yeah, we wanted Steve Young. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks, Brian. Nick, thanks, man. Good job. Thanks, guys. Taylor Tharp's here, though. Can we do? Thanks, Taylor. We have another Bronco in the house on the. But here, hey, thanks so much. The Idaho Innovation Awards. What wonderful awards were presented today, and I have to tell you that, like you were just talking about, Tracy Lots and LiveRes, fantastic company, and he's actually winning that. But it speaks volumes about his team and what they do. So. And all the teams that are around the ones who won today. So let's hear it again for the winners of Idaho Innovation Awards. So, you know, this is our opportunity briefly to just take a minute to talk about some of the accomplishments of the Idaho Technology Council and the focus of growing innovation and a knowledge-based economy. So just recently, about a month and a half ago, we released the Idaho Knowledge Report in 2018, which provides analysis focused on the factors growing a cognitive and complex ecosystem throughout Idaho. And that's really cognitive complex jobs are tied directly to STEM jobs and require more information and emerging technologies for cutting-edge products and services. So this, I would encourage you all to go to the Idaho Tech Council, council.org, and to go look this up, because what it does, it allows us to be able to look at all the metrics that are really happening so that we can really see what kind of progress we're making, where we were from historically and where we're going to be in the next 5 years, and what industries are really growing. It has all 6 regions in our state, so we can really identify the difference. Because the difference is Boise's really focused on more professional services and software, whereas things in eastern Idaho or middle part of the state, they're entirely different. So it really lays this out. And let me tell you about what we found because of it. Idaho has the fastest growing software industry in the United States as a percent of the state's GDP. So that's number one. So that's monster for us as we look at as we develop more software companies in our state. By code.org, it said that Idaho has making the most progress towards getting computer science in our K-12 system. A lot left that we need to do here. And Brad Little is now in the house with us. Brad, thank you so much for coming, Lieutenant Governor. Appreciate you being here. Help us. And the other one is in all 6 regions, 12% of the state's GDP is around manufacturing. You have to either make services or products. So we're making a lot of products, and some of the award winners here are making products that are very cutting edge. And then the other one is about infrastructure, making sure that we have the right type of internet and transportation systems in our state. So that's another big thing that we found. The other one is, the last is healthcare accounts for 9 of the 15 fastest growing jobs in our state. The fastest growing number 1 demand job in our state is now around software development, but 9 of the top 15 around healthcare. So it's another area that we really need to focus on. So the Idaho Technology Council represents approximately 120,000 employees that work for various industries in Idaho and help inspire technology innovation and help grow talent across and access to capital and growing technology and helping to get to the marketplace. So thank you for all you do, but let's go to the next one, because I know we're waiting to hear somebody very important has come here for a good distance to be able to speak to us. And to introduce that is the Executive Vice President of Albertsons Companies, and really a good friend of all the things that we have going on, Andy Scoggin. Andy.
It is an incredible honor to be able to introduce our keynote speaker this evening. I would also mention that when we talk about inspiring events, for me this is a truly inspiring night, because the 2 Hall of Fame winners that are going to be inducted tonight have had, both of them, a huge impact on my life, having spent much of my career with the Albertsons Companies, and but more importantly, a huge impact on hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people across this entire nation. So I'm excited for that. But right now I want to talk about our keynote speaker, and anyone who has a tangential knowledge of football knows the name Steve Young. And you know, it's pretty easy to know about his career, his 15 seasons in the NFL, his 3 Super Bowl rings, his Super Bowl MVP status, his Hall of Fame status, and hundreds of other incredibly important accomplishments throughout his career as a great leader on the field. But there's a whole lot more to Steve Young than football. And I think you ought to know a little bit about that. And I wanted to give you 2 quick anecdotes, and then we want to get him up here to speak. But give you a little bit of background. First of all, Steve is a wonderful husband, father to 4 children, the oldest of whom I believe is entering college. So big changes in his life on that front. But he also you know, has a far-reaching interest in intellect. And my first anecdote quickly goes back 31 years this month, or a month ago, when I was just starting my 2nd year in law school. And I got a note to come down to the dean's office. And of course, I got down there as quick as I could. Dean of the law school says, we've got a bit of a challenge. We're not really sure yet how to deal with, because we've never done this before, but we have a new student coming in to the law school. He's applied, he's been accepted, but his career, his job keeps him from being able to come to school in the autumn term, or the autumn semester, so he can only come in winter semesters. And we don't know how to do that because it's, you know, there's a huge learning curve, you know, that you hit in the autumn semester to be able to be ready for the winter semester. And so I'm wondering if you would be willing to take on the role of kind of tutoring this student as he comes into law school to help him out. And I said, sure. And he said, would you like to know who it is? And I said, well, sure. And he said, have you heard of Steve Young? And I said, sure. I had gone to BYU in my undergrad at the time that he was breaking records every week on the football field. So, of course, you know, I knew who Steve Young was. And I thought, as I'm thinking after I accepted that role, and it was going to be a couple of months before he came to the school, how do I do this? Because, you know, this is a huge burden that he's going to have, and I'm going to have to help him to get up to speed. Because the thing about law school, and those of you who've known it or watched something on it on a movie or anything else know that you read books like this every week. You're reading, you know, hundreds of pages. And just be able to know what the teachers or professors are talking about, et cetera. He's going to have a lot of catching up, and I don't know how I'm going to do that. And all of that concern was dispelled in the very first meeting I had with Steve when he came in and we had a little office, sat down with him, and I started to you know, talk about what he's going to have to go through. And he said, hey, I've kind of read most of the stuff that they sent me here, and I've got some questions for you. And he starts in with these questions, and I'm thinking, I don't know the answers. And at that point, and for the next 2 years that I had the privilege to spend a lot of time with Steve Young, I learned that he had just an incredible, insightful intellect, digested things quickly, loved to learn, and was very, very curious about things, and could apply them in real life and make them work. So that's my first anecdote, is that this is, you know, I've had the privilege of working in a long career in San Francisco, here in Boise, Idaho, for many years with some very, very smart people, and I found out, I can tell you that Steve Young is in that you know, universe of very, very smart people I've had a fortune to work with. He's, you know, at the top of that list. So this is a smart guy who also played football. And second quick anecdote is that as he came to this, now I'll take you to the end of his career, and I hope I get this right, Steve, but I think I will, because he was thinking about the transition, which, you know, he'd spent not just this career, but all the way from junior high, high school, and all on. He's a football guy. He understands that world and what to do there, and he's thinking, how do I transition? And so he calls up or reaches out to one of his football heroes, Roger Staubach. And Roger Staubach, as many of you know, not only a superstar on the football field, but an incredibly successful businessman with the Staubach companies. And he calls and asks for, and Roger Staubach says, absolutely, I'd love to chat with you. He asked for some advice and counsel on that transition. And as Steve tells it, Roger Staubach said, when you're ready to leave football, run away from your football career and towards what you're going to do next, and run fast. I hope I got that pretty right. And that's what he's done. is that he has left an incredible career there to co-found what was H&G Capital, is now HGGC, is a private equity firm which is focused on investing in emerging technologies, especially in, I guess, what I understand is kind of staid businesses. Ours is one of them, supermarket industry that hasn't, came late to the technology world. And what kind of technologies out there that can absolutely come into these industries, auto industry and others, and change the game, and they want to be behind them. And they want to put not just money, but support, et cetera, into those. And so I'd say that tonight, Steve Young is an ideal speaker for this gathering of incredibly intelligent, engaged entrepreneurs, people building technologies and growing technologies, because he's an engaging and very insightful and, in accord with tonight's theme, inspiring speaker. I could listen to him speak anytime I get the chance. He's just a great speaker. But also, he's a speaker who is very interested in what all of you are doing and knowing what you're doing. And we're so excited to have him here in Boise representing his company, his CEO Rich Lawson and others, to know what's going on, because we think we got a great story to tell, and we think that it's exciting to have firms like HGGC looking at what we're doing and helping us to go to the next stage and level. So can we give an incredibly warm Idaho welcome to Steve Young.
There we go. Not that I couldn't throw to any one of you easily with the perfect spiral. We've got 3 on each side that have already been picked out for safety reasons, because I've broken chandeliers in the past. And so we just want to toss them to you. And, oh, beautiful. Who else? Is there others? Yeah, come closer. I don't want to kill anybody. Are you next? Oh, that's a bad throw. Good catch. Who else? There you go. Can you catch that? Yeah. Jay, this is Jay's idea. I don't have. You can tell this is one more. Where's the other person? Okay, there you go. Great. Here? Okay. Was there one more? Who else is the last person? Is that you back there? Seriously? Oh, it's this way. Here. You? All right. Great. I would have thrown it to you, but you didn't win. All right. Thank you, guys. It's so great. Mark Andreessen, who's a Silicon Valley pioneer, and one of the big and best investors in Silicon Valley today, who spoke recently and said, I'm really bummed out. He's 58 years old, I want to say. He's 58 years old, and he said, I'm really bummed out because of all the cool things that I've seen in technology over my lifetime. I'm going to miss all the cool stuff. And I think that's very interesting, because if you think about all the cool stuff that's still coming, you saw some of it tonight, you're going to kiss the feet of the Idaho Technology Council in 30 years, because it is changing every business so dramatically you can't imagine. Bob Miller never believed that he was going to be a technologist when he was a grocer all those years. And now his expertise has to be technology. It's the differentiating factor in the business. And that goes for Albertsons, it goes for businesses all over the world. And so the idea that you're being supported and pushed and awarded is going to make a difference for the state of Idaho. In fact, I don't know if there's any better group that's doing more for the future of Idaho than what the ITC is doing. So it's my pleasure to be a part of it, because I'm recognizing it as I see out in the world. When I was growing up, my hero was Roger Staubach, as as Andy, and I appreciate Andy, you coming and inviting me to be here and our long friendship. And I couldn't be more grateful for the dean of the law school to put Andy in charge of me. I did need support. I went to 3 Super Bowls while I went to law school, those 6 semesters. And the semester started in January, right after the new year, and the Super Bowl's over in early February. So not only was it, I missed the first semester, I missed the first month of the second semester, and I'd be like, Andy, help! And he did it. We did it. I graduated, and so I'll get to that. But I grew up with Roger Staubach as my hero, and there was a poster on my wall in my bedroom. And I looked at that poster and stared at it. How did Roger hold the ball? And I wanted to hold the football just like Roger did. I put my fingers just like he did, and it showed on the poster. And I watched him on TV. I wanted to talk like him. When I saw him play, I wanted to play like him. And that was my dream. And my dad, I'd always tell him, Dad, my dream is to be in the NFL and be Roger Staubach. He goes, that's a great dream. What's the plan? And I go, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Well, a dream is something that you should have, and it's very hard to achieve, but something to have in your mind, and a great dream. But you have to have a plan that you can, 80% certainty that you can achieve. So you can have a dream and a plan. And at a very young age, he was always talking about a dream and a plan. And so I knew my dream was to be in the NFL, and my plan always was to go to school. I talked to him about going to law school because he was a lawyer and kind of in his footsteps, and that was my dream and plan. He goes, that's great. Dream and a plan. And then I went pro, and I called him. Dad, the dream and the plan came together. I don't have to worry about the plan anymore because now the dreams come true, and I have a plan because I'm going to make money playing for professional football. He said, Steve, come on. There's only the average career in the NFL is 3 years. You're going to be 25 years old, out of a job, and then what are you going to do? And I was like, okay, I'll keep the plan going. So I had the plan in my mind, and that's why I ended up going to law school in 1987 in the middle of my football career, basically to fulfill my father telling me that you better have a dream and a plan. And after I played 15 years and retired, actually 17 professional seasons, I retired, and thankfully I had received this higher degree that allowed me to run from football and start a new career. And so now 18 years of professional football and 18 years of private equity, I now have essentially 2 careers thanks to my dad telling me that you better have a dream and a plan. And the plan was always something that you could achieve. And so having 2 distinctly different kind of careers, things that I learned in football is where the truth is because you have lines, it's very defined boundaries, it's got a clock, it's got a score, and there's no lying. The truth is on the field. You have 80,000 witnesses, and what happens there, no one can say after the game. So many times I wanted to come after the game and say, did you see that? Well, it wasn't what you thought. Well, sorry, we watched it. So nice try. And so there was very little ability to not be able to deal with the truth. And so if you have that kind of atmosphere, what happens is that you learn a lot about human behavior. You watch 50 guys out, and that's, with 80,000 witnesses and a clock and a score and a boundary, you're going to find out a lot about human behavior. And so the things that I learned in football, the truths in football, if you will, and then what did I learn over in this other career, and where do they mix and match? People always say, what did you take from your first career that came into your second career, and what worked? And there's a couple of things that are really vital in my mind, because if something's true on the football field and it's true in business, then by definition, it's true, right? Because they're just true principles. And the first one I want to describe to you, and there's 2 that I want to share with you today that are kind of foundational for me. The first one is my original coach when I went to the San Francisco 49ers in 1987 was Bill Walsh. And Bill was an innovator. I mean, if there was an award if he was here tonight, he'd win the award. He was ahead of the game. Archaically taught and coached for many years, football was thought to be, for example, let's have players get in shape. Let's put them in the desert and let's keep water from them, and they'll be stronger and better. They'll be in better shape. That was actually believed. That's what they used to do. I mean, how do we treat them more like the relationship between coach and player was really I would call it a zero-sum game. I mean, the coach had a big stick, and he just beat the players, and they behaved, and they did what he said, and that's the essence of how football was taught and coached. And until Bill Walsh came along and recognized that there was a better way to do it. You know what? We'll give them water. We don't have to be in the desert. In fact, we're going to focus on the intricacies of the sport. We're going to think about the timing. Football is an incredible choreography, or essentially a glorified dance step. Let's work on that, the nuances of the game. I believe you can go hit somebody. I believe you can go tackle. Let's beat people on the timing. And he's like, how else can we do it? Let's talk about how we eat. Let's talk about how we rest. Let's talk about how we can help you at home, in your marriage. Let's figure out how we can make you better football players by making sure that the rest of your life is in order. These are revolutionary ideas. Revolutionary in football, probably revolutionary in a lot of businesses at the time. And so I joined him in 1987, and he'd already won 2 Super Bowls with the names of Joe Montana and Jerry Rice and Ronnie Lott and Tom Rathman and Roger Craig, and just all the names. If you remember back in those days, it was an incredible team that had already, in just 5 or 6 short years of Bill Walsh being the coach, had won 2 Super Bowls and been to 3 or 4 championship games, win the playoffs every year. And so I joined this team, and the first day we get there, Bill Walsh is up in front of the team, and I'm in awe, and I can't believe that I'm here. I'm a part of this wonderful team. Can't wait to learn. And as he's speaking, I see over on the side someone with the old, back in 1987, it was like on the shoulder, it was a big video camera with a cord and someone holding the recorder, and the guy was filming Bill, everything he said. And as he talked, I thought, that's interesting. Why would you film him? And then when Bill left and he walked down the hall, they followed him. And then he went out on the field, and then he went back inside, and then he went to the locker room. They just filmed everything he did. And I remember when they were doing that, I said to myself and chuckled, what does he think? I know he's famous, and I know he's a great innovator. I know he's, amazing in what he's doing, but really? I mean, do you have to film yourself? And I remember kind of making fun of him. What do you think, you're that famous? What are you, like Abe Lincoln? And you already want to build your museum, and you want to make sure that everybody knows? And that's what I thought. Little did I know that what he was doing, what he was building, a video history, as well as an audio history and a paper-based history of everything that he knew. Every innovative thought that ever came through him, both from offensive philosophy to play calling to speeches that he made to the team to how you treat players, how you develop young talent, how you encourage coaches to take head coaching jobs, all the things that he was thinking about, he wanted kind of in one place, a repository of all the things that I had. He knew that what he was doing was innovative. He knew that he was 2 generations ahead of everybody in football. And why did the San Francisco 49ers so good for so long? Because Bill was ahead of the game. And in the middle of that success, of all of that, what do people usually do with proprietary information that they know is a game changer, that they can win for years with it? Well, they hold it close, right? It's mine. And the world is a zero-sum game, and I'm going to win, and you lose, right? That's how we look at today's political environment. I'm going to either win or you're going to lose, and that's all we're going to do. And that's what we're just going to beat each other up. And when I win, I'm going to tell you that you're a loser, and when you win, then I'm going to come back and get you. Nobody's ever satisfied. Nobody's ever collaborative. Nobody ever senses that it's a win-win situation. It's a zero-sum game. But Bill thought of it completely different. And so at the height of his knowledge and expertise and innovation, he collected it all, put it in one place, and then miraculously, not miraculously, but incredibly, at the time, if you know the NFL, there's a Rooney Rule now where new owners have to, when they change coaches, you have to interview at least 3 minority candidates for that job to help encourage minority hiring. Well, Bill was ahead of the Rooney Rule, well before it. And he wanted his assistant coaches to get head coaching jobs. And so what he was doing was building a repository to hand to the assistant coaches when they got head coaching jobs. And he would. Here's a big, huge toolkit. Here it is. Everything that I know. And then incredibly said at the end, I'll see you in the championship game. Knowing that with this toolkit, they were going to come back and compete against him, and they'll see him in the championship game. And we did. The first guy he handed it to was Mike Holmgren. Mike Holmgren went to the Green Bay Packers, came back, and beat us in the championship game. And Brett Favre was his quarterback, and after the game, I'm seeing Brett, and I go, Brett, by the way, what was the big game speech that Mike Holmgren gave you last night? He told me the speech? It was Bill's big game speech. I was like, Bill, what are you doing? I mean, like, they're coming back and beating us. But if you think about abundance, if you think about a spirit of all the things that you think, 1 + 1 = 3, or collaboration, or a sense of additive experience, you want something to be more. What you do is, and I see this all the time, is a sense of what will get us both to agree. How can we collaborate? How can we find common ground? And in common ground, can we make a deal? Can we figure this out? Or does it have to be a zero-sum game? And so Bill was the first one to teach me that fundamentally you can look at all relationships in your life, every one of them, whether they're intimate at home with your wife and kids, or whether it's broadly out in the street, or somebody that literally cuts you off on the highway. Every relationship can be thought of as in a spirit of abundance or a zero-sum game. And if you think about it in a spirit of abundance, you can now be somebody that can engage in that relationship to build goodness. It can build healing. It can build success. It can build long-lasting relationship. Because zero-sum game on the other side will not build long-lasting relationship, because you beat somebody with a big stick. What are they going to do? They're coming back to get you. You might win for a little while, but I'm going to remember, because the way that you did it and the spirit of how you did it defined how I felt about it. And I remember that. And so really, I think about what did I learn in the football realm? I learned from Bill Walsh at the height of his career, handing off his most valuable secrets to the people around him to go be successful. Los Angeles Chargers, Los Angeles Rams, Seattle Seahawks, Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings. I'm just moving west to east. San Francisco 49ers, Phoenix Cardinals. Every team that I just mentioned, and that's just starting, I could keep going. Baltimore Ravens, Miami, I mean, it just goes on and on, are the teams that are led by head coaches who have the toolkit. It's been handed down for generations, passed on by those original people, and now it's everywhere. The NFL is, in many ways, the memorial for Bill Walsh and what he's accomplished and what he's done single-handedly in the spirit of abundance. What is somebody's legacy who thinks about the world in a zero-sum game? There is no legacy by nature. What's the legacy of somebody who sees it as a collaboration, a relationship to actually gain something from? What do you have? What do we have? What can we figure out together? And those handshakes mean something. They're not handshakes that you go home and revenge and those kind of emotions. It's like, no, it's a tough negotiation. We saw each other straight up and we shook on it, and now we both feel like we win. And I think that's absolutely a part of how I think about my marriage, how I think about my relationship with my kids. It's fundamental, and it really defines my relationship in business. Because most people think, it's so strange, they think in terms of zero-sum game. It's how they think about doing stuff. I need to win, and I need this, or we won't be successful. The truth is, there's a place in the middle that's a spirit of abundance. So I give that to you. Think about it in your relationships. Maybe you can think about it as a way to approach difficult conversations that you've had with people, difficult relationships that you have, in a spirit of abundance. When I played quarterback, I dropped back to pass thousands of times. Every time I have the ball in my hand, I'm looking for the open receiver. Hopefully it's Jerry Rice. But that's the job, right? That's what I'm paid to do. How many times we've been going down the field, we're going to go win the game. There's 80,000 people in the stands that are cheering you on. Everyone's feeling it. The players are excited. Everyone's invested. We've been through a hard-fought game. It's towards the end. There's seconds left. I drop back to pass. I see Jerry Rice. Oh my gosh, he's open, and I throw it. And how many times has not Jerry Rice caught it, but the other team? That's an interception. That is, I cannot describe to you, because you've never experienced 80,000 people suddenly just collapsing. Your teammates feel like you've just stolen from them. And there's a moment in human nature is this way, because remember, the truth is on the football field. There's a moment when the whole team kind of wonders how in the world that you threw it to that guy, because that's super obvious, right? And there's a tinge underneath it that feels a little bit like, did he do that on purpose? Now, as a human being, I've now done that. I remember I threw it. I knew immediately, like, oh, this is going to be trouble. And then it is trouble. And now the boos start down. And my teammates turn to me and they say, why? And underneath it is a little sense of, did you do that on purpose? Okay? Now you're me. What do you do? The first thing I think of is to turn and run, right? Like if I run really fast and get to the car and head out, this will all be over. But that not being an option, what is the next thing you want to do? You want to tell the people, especially the teammates that you fight with or that you are so close to, and that I didn't do it on purpose. Like I'm going to tell you all about the mitigation that's happened. It's not like, of course I didn't do it on purpose. In fact, let me tell you all the truths of how we got here. You turned the wrong way, right? It's true. I'm not telling him something that didn't happen. He truthfully, you didn't block your guy. He hit me just as I was throwing the ball. And that's, now what am I doing? I'm explaining why it happened. And so these are the truths to me to let you know that I didn't do it on purpose. And then look at the sun. It's right in my eye. And look, you see it's hard. It's not, and feel the ball. It's wet and muddy, slippery, huh? Try to throw that thing. Is there anything that I just said that wasn't truthful? No, it was all true. And I was telling them, I want them to know I would never do this on purpose. And then we went to the sidelines, and we go, I'd overhear the conversations with the coach or the other players would come out, and they said, what happened out there? And inevitably, what they would say, and it was amazing, because early in my career, I thought, this is crazy that I'm telling them why it happened, and this is their response to the coach is, well, he's not Joe Montana. And that's the biggest problem we have right now. And so I realized very quickly that I'm supposed to be the leader. I'm supposed to be inspiring. I'm supposed to be somebody that can get it done. And what I'm doing here in this moment is not working. And so I decided to do something completely different. And it's really a testimony to human behavior, because the next time that I threw an interception, it happened every time. Didn't matter the circumstances. It's always a huge disappointment. It's always tinged with a sense that, oh my gosh, did you really throw it to him? I mean, that was so obvious. And the next time it happened, they turned to me, why? And what did I say? I took this unique opportunity to basically say, fundamentally, the ball was in my hands, and now it's in their hands. And who's responsible for that? Fundamentally, I am. The truth of it was that I'm responsible fundamentally. The ball was in my hands, and I threw it, and someone else caught it that wasn't supposed to. So I'm responsible. But that's not the end of that story. I'm going to go fix it. Let's go to the sidelines, get a drink of water, come back on the field, let's go down and win the game. Those same guys would go to the sidelines, coach would say, what happened out there? And I'm telling you, it's crazy enough that they would say, well, I turned the wrong way. My guy hit Steve just as he was throwing the ball. What happened? What in the world just happened that is true, and it's true everywhere, is that at the moment, the key moment, when the lights were on, not tomorrow, not later, not when it's, more relaxed, it's at the moment of truth when everybody's wondering what happened, the leader turns to everybody and says, I'm responsible. I did it. And in that truth is a higher truth than the other truths that I talked about as being he turned the wrong way. And all the mitigation. There's mitigation in every experience. There's 1,000 things that can go wrong on the football field. And if you list them, feel free. They're probably all true. But are they higher truth? No, the higher truth is a sense of accountability for all the mistakes, that who is in charge? And by taking that responsibility, what I did was I infused into the system all of this accountability that allowed my fellow human beings who react just the same to say to themselves, oh my gosh, you're responsible. The truth is, I'm responsible too. All of a sudden, accountability spreads. And pretty soon you got 50 guys that feel a sense of accountability, a sense of ownership in what happens. Why are the 49ers always good? For 19 years, we're in the playoffs every year. 5 Super Bowls and 10 championship games. I mean, why are those things? You think it's because the play we run or the defense that was called? Or no, it was fundamentally that we had people that had a sense of abundance, a sense of integration, a sense of love for each other. Bill Walsh was the one that thought it. He would tell at the beginning of the year, he'd say, look, I'm going to integrate this team. What do you mean integration? You mean black and white, like racially? Because that's what everybody thinks about first. Like, no, way beyond that. I want all the things that separate you as human beings, all the things that keep you apart. When you go sit down in a group, a varied group of people, you're going to sit with the people you know. You don't mean anything against the people you don't know. It's just that I'm comfortable with you. All the quarterbacks sit together, all the receivers sit together, all the people who have this, all the things that separate us. What's language, socioeconomic background, geography, religion, where we went to school, all the things, and so there's groups that we feel comfortable with and things that I just don't know. And he says, I'm going to integrate you guys on the bus, on the planes, in the locker room, in the training room cafeteria. How many times are all the quarterbacks sitting together? Of course we're sitting together. We're the smartest. Why would we not be there, right? We're taking our lunch, and all of a sudden Bill would come in and go, up you go. So we'd have to stand up, and I'm tired. I don't want to take my tray over here. I had to sit down and say hello to somebody new. How are you doing? What's your name? I knew their name because it was on the back of their jersey. But you can play for somebody for 10 years. You can be with a company for 10 years and do the same thing over time. You don't really know them. And Bill's idea was if we're integrated, we know each other, that when you're in Lambeau Field in Green Bay and it's 32 degrees and sleeting rain, why isn't it snowing? Because if it was snowing, it wouldn't be so cold because it wouldn't be soaking wet. And then you're windy and it's cold and your hands are numb and your feet, you can't feel them. And then you get in the huddle because it's 3rd and 10 and you're down by 4 with a minute left. In that huddle, at that moment, when you're in the huddle and you're looking at 10 other guys in the eye, his belief was if we are integrated, if we have a spirit of abundance about how we're looking at this world, that I care about you, that it matters to me how you're doing, that at that moment, 11 people together cannot be stopped. And it's fundamentally true. And then if you can if accountability is infused into the systems where everyone feels a sense of ownership, I'm responsible. The 49ers for years were great because the equipment man who was in charge of the jerseys felt like if my jerseys aren't right and everything's not set up perfectly for the pregame and in the locker room, we won't win. Like literally felt like if I don't do my job well, we will lose. You cannot be beat if everybody feels that sense of ownership. Again, it doesn't matter what play you call. I go to Monday nights in the fall, I go to the Monday Night Football. Last week I was in Green Bay, 49ers in Green Bay, and I just love watching people warm up, watching the team and the spirit of the team. I can watch a team warm up, and on these basic fundamental principles of accountability and what we'll call spirit of abundance or integration, I just watch for it, just interactions. I see it in a second. I'm like, that's a team that's going to win. Do you ask me, well, what about the receiver? He's hurt. What about this guy? I don't care. They might lose today, but they're going to win in the long run. In fact, do me a favor. If you hate football, it doesn't matter. At the end of the game, especially in the NFL, the losing team, there's always a media that talks to the coach and the quarterback post-game, and they ask them questions. Questions just like my linemen used to ask me when I threw interceptions. They want to know what happened. Do me a favor and watch it. Take a piece of paper, put a line down the middle. On one side, put mitigation. On the other side, put accountability. And just put your ear to the conversation. And just make little marks as you listen. You'll know it in a second. The guys that are talking about the mitigation that they're involved with and what happened, they lost tonight and they're probably going to lose next week. And the guys that are the masters of accountability, masters of understanding what we're trying to accomplish here, the human behavior, go ahead, listen to Tom Brady. Listen to Drew Brees. Listen to Aaron Rodgers. It's incredible how these guys are so successful, but why? When they lose a football game and they go in post-game and they talk to the media, who are they talking to? Are they talking to the media? I mean, who are they speaking to? Speaking to their teammates. Because I lost this week, if I'm going to win next week, Tom Brady's married to Giselle. He makes $40 million a year. Everyone else on the team is wondering what the heck's going on. And I now, Tom Brady, need to collect my other teammates when it's very, it's not equal. How do I get you to come fight with me? Because when it matters, I infuse it. Well, listen to him when he talks. Everything he says is essentially shepherding, kind of bringing people back together. Like, I'm accountable, and we're going to work, and we're going to do well together, and I'm responsible, and this is how we're going to do it, and I need to get better. And all he's doing is collecting his teammates at the end of the game through the media. It's a master stroke. And the guys that are great players all do this. Check it out. You witness it yourself. And until you learn it, you can't lead. If you're a man of mitigation or a woman of mitigation, you will run into the ground sooner or later. If you're a man or woman of a zero-sum game with a big stick and I'm going to win, you might win for a while, but you will not have a legacy. You will not have a spirit of abundance. You will not have a spirit of collected common good and will, and common will, and goodwill. And it really goes to how we think about our marriage. I mean, honestly, how many times have I come home? Just the other night, my wife says, go down and get X. And then, by the way, get, A, B, and C. So I go down there and I come back with A, B, C, think I got it figured out, and I forgot the original thing she said. It's happened 100 times. And so how I've stayed married is because I did not tell her how it went wrong. And all the things that happened, and you didn't, that's how you were yelling at me. I was leaving, and I thought I heard something around the corner, and then I got in the car, and then there's like syrup on the seat, and I forgot what I was, like, these are all true things. These are all truths, but they're lower truths. The higher truth is at that moment, honey, I screwed it up, and I'm going to go fix it. And I go running out the door to go fix it. And I've done it 100 times, and I'm still married. Because if you don't, if your mitigation kills relationships, if you want to stay married, you've got to have a sense of accountability. If I could teach my kids anything in this world, the ability to say, I messed it up, and I'm going to go fix it. That self-awareness is the vital piece of the puzzle to success. And so you ask me, what are the things that worked in football and work in private equity or in business? They're the same things that work in my marriage, the same things that work in the street, the same thing that happens every relationship we have. It's fundamental to how you kind of integrate your own life. And so football taught me some great things. The final thing I'll share with you is that football also has what we'll call the Everest of our life. I mean, I don't climb mountains, and if I did, I guess I'd want to climb Everest, because that's the highest mountain and it has a lot of meaning. Good dream. I will never climb Everest because I don't want to die. In fact, I'm done doing anything of high risk. I have young kids and I want to live to 110. And so I didn't do a lot of great things when I was 20 to 40 in living to 110, so now I got to make up for it, and I'm not going to do anything stupid, I promise you. I'm going to try not to at all. I'm trying to live for as long as I possibly can. But Everest in life, when people climb Everest, what do? No matter how, the air issue, the weather issue, you got to get up and back. It's very dangerous. But they always carry something that they do not need to get to the top. Two things that they bring that are not useful to actually getting there, but are super useful at the moment they are at the top. And what are those two? One is a steel pole with a flag on it, right? And the second thing, anybody? That's a camera. I'm going to be at the top of the world. We're taking a picture, right? Because I want a record. I want to know that, I want everyone to know that I was there. And that's part of the dream, and I want you to know that dreams are worth it. And so in many ways, the same thing that happens at Everest when people do that, in football, it's called the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl is Everest. And the night before my Super Bowl, the PR guy for the 49ers walked in, Rodney Knox, said, Steve, the Disney company wants to sign you for $1,500 that if you win the MVP tomorrow, that you'll say into the camera at the end of the game, you won the Super Bowl MVP, now what are you going to do? And you're going to yell into the camera, I'm going to Disneyland, right? It was part of the club. It's like, this is great. Yeah, great. Let's do it. Signed it. Of course, didn't read it, because what lawyer reads a contract? By the way, the two lawyers from Stoll Reeves, that was really funny. No, it's funny. Lawyers, funny. That's funny. Right? Like, that doesn't make any sense. That's just super funny, just on its own. So the next day, I win the MVP. I go out, and Rodney Knox runs up to me and says, Steve, remember, you signed the thing. You got to yell in the camera. I yell in the camera, I'm going to Disneyland. And then I go off, and we have a great time, and there's a party afterwards. And about 2 a.m., Rodney Knox walks up to me and says, hey, by the way, it's not a metaphor. Like, you're going to Disneyland. I go, I am? I didn't know. He said, yeah, it was in the contract, right? And I said, oh, great. Okay, that's fine. I love Disneyland. I'm a Disney freak. It'll be great. He goes, yeah, but it's tomorrow. I'm like, tomorrow? How's that possible? We're in Miami, got to go back to San Francisco, down to Anaheim. How are we going to do that? Then he looked at his watch. He goes, oh, it's 2 a.m. Sorry, today. Woke up that early that morning, flew to San Francisco parade, and then I went down to Anaheim. That night, I was in front of the castle at Disneyland, and it was huge. We just won the Super Bowl. There's a band. You don't know, Disneyland had a band. They had a band in front. They were playing big, huge stage, a float, gold and red streamers for the 49ers on the side. Said Steve Young, Super Bowl MVP. And next to me, you know it, Mickey Mouse, right? It was the ultimate. It was my moment of Everest. It was where it all happened. And for 4 minutes, down Main Street, people were yelling, Steve, you're the man, you're the king, you're the greatest, Joe's nothing, you're the greatest guy ever, you know. And for 4 minutes, I kind of lost my mind. I'm yelling back, I am the man, I am greater than Joe, this is the best, I'm the king, this is great. And we all had this moment in the sun. I was like, oh my gosh. And then we get to the end, and we turn backstage, and everything gets quiet. The band stops playing. There's 2 boys sitting down on the curb, dressed just alike with the yellow pants and the purple shirt so they don't get lost, and the mom's worried about it, and they're probably 6 and 8 years old, and they don't care about this. And the younger one looks up and sees Mickey Mouse, sees Mickey Mouse on the stage, on the float, and starts to charge the thing like and mesmerized like Mickey Mouse. His older brother grabs him by the shirt and pulls him back, says, you can't get near him. The big guy won't let you. I had an out-of-body experience. I yelled at the kid, of all the times in my life that I am not Mickey Mouse's bodyguard, it is right now. I am the man, read the sign, right? I want you to know that Everests are worth it, that dreams are worth it, that there is 4 minutes where you get to take a picture, and absolutely. But then I had to quickly go back to work because I became the bodyguard. But make sure that when you have a dream, that you also have a plan, or you get stuck. I appreciate the chance to come up and spend a few minutes here in the beautiful city of Boise. Thank you very much. Good job.
Hello. What a tremendous message tonight, Steve. It can transcend through our whole life what we're doing. Truly, truly. You are the king tonight in this room. That is wonderful. Don't you love these nights when you never know what's going to happen? I mean, you're at the top on speakers here in Boise, Idaho, Steve, after that. Seriously, that was fabulous. It's time for our last 2 awards this evening, the Hall of Fame Awards, which are presented by HP. But before I begin with those, HP does have a surprise for us. 3 lucky winners are going home tonight with a great HP product. This is where I talked about look under your coffee cup and see if your saucer and see if you have a sticker there. Somebody's going home with an HP Tango ink printer. Somebody else is going home with the Sprocket in your pocket printer, and then the HP Pavilion laptop. So house lights up so we can see who the 3 winners are. Please stand up. Congratulations to you. Jody from HP has your winning items. Jody, if you will deliver those right there to everybody, we would appreciate it. Isn't that fun? Good. All right, here we go. What an evening this has been. This is wonderful. If I can have your attention, because it's now time for our first 2018 inductee into the Hall of Fame, and it is Joe Albertson. I know. Let's hear it for Joe. Talk about a favorite son. Few people in the world have impacted a state, let alone an industry, like Joe Albertson. In a pioneering career that spanned more than 50 years, Joe transformed grocery retail. For all of his innovations, Joe's philosophy for success was surprisingly down to earth. He got his inspiration from his customers, and he empowered his employees, which in turn inspired them. Because who doesn't remember this jingle? Sing it with me. It's Joe Albertson's supermarket, but the bakery department is mine. Who doesn't remember that? Joe was great at marketing as well. Well, we found this photo from the 16th and State store going back to 1952. Aren't they something up there? One customer back there said the girls at the bakery would put extra icing on the raisin bread for the kids. There is somebody very special from that time period who loved Albertsons, because she is here with us today. In that photo is Violet, one of the girls back in 1952. And Violet Pooley, House Lights Up Again, is with us tonight with her granddaughter, Michelle, and her husband, Monty. If you can just wave to us, Violet. One of those Albertsons employees from 1952. So wonderful. Well, Joe was amazing in many ways, but I might say that maybe the one word that sums up Joe is generous. And here is Joe's story.
What is it about Idaho that inspires? Is it these mountains or this sky? For a farm boy from Caldwell, Idaho, Joe Albertson's inspiration came from serving people. Joe began his career as a grocery clerk for Safeway at the outset of the Great Depression. During those tough times, Joe learned the meaning of value, providing the basics like milk, butter, and flour at a great price, and the value of high customer service, tender loving care, as he called it. By 1939, Joe was inspired to put up his life savings of $4,500, along with a loan from his wife's Aunt Bertie, to build the first grocery store with his name on it, Albertsons. His vision was a store like no other of its day, a store 5 times larger than any store at the time, a store with a butcher, a baker, a soda fountain, a donut machine, a supermarket in the neighborhood, and full of bargains, all under one roof. Joe Albertson's vision inspired customers and empowered employees.
It's Joe Albertson's supermarket, but the produce department is mine.
Joe always said, go and grow, and that Albertsons did. In Joe's time, Albertsons grew to serve millions of customers, becoming one of the largest and most successful grocery store brands in the country, and creating the term we take for granted today, supermarket.
We love them. If it wasn't for the customers, we wouldn't be in business.
Throughout his life, Joe was dedicated to inspiring others by giving, ultimately establishing the J.A. and Catherine Albertson Family Foundation, to date giving more than $730 million to support education, learning, and communities across Idaho. From farm boy to industry giant, Joe Albertson never overlooked a chance to inspire others, with tender loving care service and a sense of pride in ownership. Today, Joe Albertson inspires us with his latest accomplishment as the newest member of the Idaho Technology Council Hall of Fame.
Amazing story. It's a great privilege to be here this evening. I'm Von Hansen, Chairman of the Idaho Technology Council, and it's a great honor. at this time to induct Joe Albertson into the 2018 Hall of Fame. To receive this for Joe Albertson, we'd like to invite the chairman of the Albertsons Foundation. It's J.A. and Catherine Albertson's Family Foundation, and also the great-granddaughter of Joe Albertson's. Please welcome Jamie Jo Scott up here.
This is it right here. We're going to take a picture with you. Thanks, Jamie. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jay, and the Idaho Technology Council for this great honor. In keeping with the spirit of giving Jay a hard time, I just want to say I do not appreciate following Hall of Famer Steve Young at all.
It's tough. It's tough.
But I really do appreciate the great opportunity to honor two well-deserving men, so thank you very much for that. My 10-year-old son went to summer camp this year for the first time, and during that week, he met a new friend. And somewhere along that week, those two little boys had a conversation that went something like, "My grandfather owns Albertsons. My grandfather owns Albertsons." And for a moment in their little minds, they had this crazy Parent Trap moment where I think they thought they were long-lost twins, separated at birth. It was Mr. Miller's grandson, Clay. And they were really excited to tell me about it when I went to pick up Buell from camp. But mostly they just were so proud, so proud of their grandfathers. And I remember that. I still have it, but I remember being a young girl going into 16th and State and seeing a picture of Grandpa and feeling really proud, or going down the freeway, seeing a big Albertsons truck, feeling that sense of pride. And Miss Violet here, being so proud to be part of the Albertsons team, or the little old lady that would never miss a shareholders meeting, sit in the front row with her 10 shares of Albertsons stock. I think you can see it on the faces of the employees at the new Albertsons store, Bob, feeling super proud to be there. And just the sense of pride that I think the whole community had when Albertsons returned back to Boise. What my, thanks. I think what my great-grandfather Joe did was inspired people to work harder, to be better, to want to be part of something special. And that's the legacy that Mr. Miller has carried on, to encourage people to be good to people and to give back to our great community. So congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Jamie. Jamie, thank you so much also for being such a fine example of your grandfather's values. We really appreciate that. So now we get the opportunity to talk a little bit more about Bob Miller. Bob's been working in retail for 55 years. Is that right, Bob? And counting. He's earned a professional reputation as a man who could turn around companies with spectacular success, like he did with Fred Meyer and Rite Aid. Bob brought a team together of former Albertsons leaders and formed Albertsons LLC. This company is now Albertsons Companies and the second largest privately held company in the United States. This is no small feat. Bob was extraordinary, showed great leadership and great determination, and people would walk to the end of the earth for Bob. But this is one of the things that Albertsons is where Bob got his first job at the age of 16, right, Bob? It was a position as an entry level as it gets. You'll see that in the video here in a few minutes. Working his way through the ranks, Bob developed comprehensive knowledge, not to mention a unique perspective about the way good supermarkets should operate. And today, even with his corporate success, Bob still finds inspiration where it all began. Come on, let's go shopping with Bob.
What does Bob Miller, chairman of Albertsons, do when he gets bored? He likes to go shopping at one of his 2,300 stores, like his new masterpiece in Boise.
Nice to see you, buddy. What I like to do is go to stores, and it's really great to go in the stores and talk to people who made their whole career with us and ask them what they like, what we can do better. And if I could do that every day, I'd work forever.
At the new flagship Albertsons on Broadway, you can't help but be inspired by the variety, the high-quality products, the beautiful displays, the smiling staff, and on this day, by Bob's unabashed pride at showing us around.
Joe's first store was kind of like this, a very unique place where people wanted to shop. Those are all produced right here, high quality, ready to go, save the customer time and effort. You can't get better guacamole than what we have here. She may be making some right there. We have a very nice salad bar, hot food bar here, the soup bar, a lot of sushi, fresh sushi made in store, poke bowls and stir fry. People pick whatever topping they want on it, and then it's baked in our wood-fired oven. And of course, we wouldn't have a store without Albertsons' famous fried chicken. It's hard to resist a hot chocolate chip cookie. Birthday cakes, wedding cakes, and croissants are all handmade in store. We could always stop for a sample if you guys want, though. You won't find this wine variety in any other store in Idaho for sure. Probably the only place in Boise you can buy real good caviar. It's amazing. I look at these beers and I've never seen a lot of them before. Not that I would know. Popcorn from Clark's. Clark is a famous popcorn maker in Chicago. Beautiful lamb chops there. This is our international aisle, big kosher section, a lot of imported pastas. I hope that's not a statue of me. This is all natural, organic. Finding everything you need, ma'am? Oh, yes. Thank you.
The new Broadway store is a shining example of Bob's simple philosophy to run really good stores. Some of the innovations that Joe Albertson pioneered 80 years ago are still here, like a complete bakery that makes everything fresh from scratch. There's also a flower shop, a bar, a Starbucks, a pizza oven. Name brands, local brands, rare brands, all at competitive prices.
But it still comes back to, as Joe Albertson said, have the products they want at a price they're willing to pay and give them lots of tender, loving care. And that's what Joe always said, and that's what we try to do.
It appears to be working. Under Bob Miller's leadership, Albertsons Companies now has 2,300 stores in 35 states, employs 280,000 people, and boasts $60 billion in annual revenue. It's the second largest private company in the U.S. What's the secret?
So our secret sauce is what we call our decentralized operating. We really run it like a bunch of small companies. We want people to be in charge. We think not only does it help people grow and get better and creates opportunity for us and them, but it really lets them take care of their customers better.
Staying focused on the customer experience, constantly innovating to learn and get better, working hard on the right things every day. For a guy who started out as a bottle sorter back in 1961, it's a recipe that's worked.
You gotta work hard, you gotta treat people right, you gotta always tell the truth, and you gotta have passion for what you do. And I tried to have all those things, and it's worked for me.
Congratulations, Bob Miller, the latest member of the Idaho Technology Council Hall of Fame.
Congratulations.
Glad to be here.
It's a pleasure to present at this time our 2018 Hall of Fame Award to a great man, great person, Bob Miller.
Thank you very much.
Bob, if we could take a picture over here, Bob.
Okay.
Come on.
Here we go. 3 old guys.
Handsome.
Handsome guys. Would you?
I'll hold it.
Okay, let me see if I can see here. First, Carolyn, thanks for being the entertainment chairman. Jamie, boy, thanks for those comments. It makes me proud to think that you're proud of Albertson, so thank you. I'm really honored to be here to receive this award. Oh, by the way, Andy, did you give me the right book? We've had a few errors in our life, so I have to be sure. I'm grateful to be here and really honor the important work that Jay Larson and the Idaho Technology Council are doing to shine a real spotlight on this great Idaho city and the great Idaho companies of the past and the future. It's a privilege to be sharing this honor with none other than Joe Albertson himself, who was a true innovator and brilliant businessman. Joe made my career and the career of many others possible. I think he was personally responsible for helping to build a stronger, more robust workforce, both here in Idaho and throughout the country. I started in the grocery business, like you've heard, when I was 16, working in the back room of a grocery store in Southern California that was eventually, shortly after I started, acquired by Albertsons. That was a lucky situation, I'll tell you. I was a bottle sorter. There's a lot of young people in this room would not know what that means. But in those days, there were about 5 different soda pops. They were all delivered in 12-ounce returnable bottles. And there was a big deposit on those bottles, so the customers had to bring them back. They dumped them in a shopping cart. They dumped over. They wheeled them in the back room. And I got the privilege of sorting those bottles and putting them in the right wooden case to go back to the soda pop company so they could fill them up. And then they'd send them back to me, and I'd have to do it again. So that was a bottle sorter. I walked into a real mess every night, it says here. I've already said that, but it's true. I never thought about building a career there, starting as a bottle sorter. I took the job because I played sports, and it really worked around my game schedule. But after a while, I liked the work and kept going. I found as I took on bigger jobs with more responsibility that I was a pretty damn good, I can't say that, pretty good grocer. I know, I'm old. So 30 years later, I was executive vice president of Albertsons, Inc. Albertsons was my career, as well as my education. And I was lucky to have been able to learn much of what I knew from Joe Albertson himself, as well as another great leader at Albertsons, Warren McCain. They always had me 3 offices down to yell at if they needed somebody. And that was a real learning experience. If I learned anything during that time, it was like this. Joe had always wanted to run his own store, he told me. I wanted a chance to run my own company, me. And in 1991, an opportunity came up for me to become CEO of a regional chain, Fred Meyer, which was headquartered in Portland, Oregon. Over the next 7 years, working with a really great team, we built Fred Meyer into the largest grocery chain in the western United States, actually bigger than Albertsons at that time. Eventually, we were able to work out a deal with Kroger for them to acquire Fred Meyer. And working out that deal means they paid too much, but it was good, which then made Kroger the largest traditional grocery company in the U.S. I worked at Kroger as vice chairman and chief operating officer for a while following that transaction, and I thought that I was ready to slow down because I was in Cincinnati and I didn't want to be there. But throughout my career, and especially during my time with Fred Meyer, I had learned a lot about taking struggling stores and making them successful. So I received a call asking me if I would be interested in taking on the job of CEO of Rite Aid, just as it was heading into serious financial trouble. So I took that job. That's how dumb I am. Now that sounds like a tough assignment, but I figured out with the right team I could get the company back on its feet, and that's exactly what our team did. After 4 years at the helm of Fred at Rite Aid, I stepped down as CEO but remained chairman of the board. I thought that was probably my last full-time job. I never thought for a second that I would have a chance to return to Albertsons. But sometimes opportunities come up that you know you have to say yes to. In 2005, a group of investors were trying to buy about 650 stores which were in dire financial straits. The investors, headed by Cerberus Capital Management, a PE firm, were looking for a management team to come in and run stores that they were considering buying, and they reached out to me. Now, I wasn't looking for another job at that point, but I started my career with Albertsons, and my heart was still there. I had opened a lot of those stores, been at the grand opening for a lot of those stores in my time at Albertsons, and I still knew many of the employees who were working there. I knew that they knew how to run good stores and really take care of customers if given a chance. So I signed on for what I thought was going to be a 2-year, maybe 3-year turnaround assignment. This is 13 years later, by the way. I put together a small team of talented executives, and also Andy, and we went to work. Now, nearly 13 years later, we are running the second largest grocery chain in the United States and also the second largest private company in the United States. This last chapter of my career has been an amazing experience. Under the umbrella of the Albertsons Company, we have had the opportunity to restore some of the most iconic American grocery brands, like Acme Markets in Philadelphia, Jewel Osco in Chicago, Shaw's in Boston, Safeway. Wouldn't Joe be excited if he knew that we bought Safeway, the company he started with? And now they're all strong competitors again. Along the way, we were able to save tens of thousands of jobs and create new ways to sell and deliver groceries to our customers in the digital age. By the way, Steve, thanks for telling me I know about technology. About 5 years ago, when they talked about AI, artificial intelligence, I thought that was my wife. Today, I know artificial intelligence means we have to invest $100 million. Sounds somewhat like my wife, too. And we have positioned Albertsons for what we hope will be a tremendous future. One of the reasons that we've been successful is that we're always focused on innovation. Good retailers have to innovate constantly to continue to win market share. It's easy to fall behind when you're trying to keep up with what people want and how they want it and where they want it. But it's such a priority. I heard somebody say once, if you don't like change, you better like irrelevance, because that's where you're going to be. Our innovations roots go back to 1939 when Joe opened his first store. Joe worked at Safeway for 10 years before saving up enough money to open his store. Joe was a real, true innovator in his time. Like the video said, he built the largest store in Boise, combined all the departments where you used to shop at individual stores, the bakery, the drugstore, the butcher, the farm stand, into a single new store. It was the best store in Boise and had tremendous success. Today, we do things a little different. We use demographic data and economic research to figure out when an area could use a new grocery store. Joe had a better plan, though. Joe got his data by driving around neighborhoods and counting bikes in driveways and the number of clotheslines that were full to see how many families were around. So that was Joe's innovation in early economic research, and it worked pretty good. Joe changed the game in many ways and kept a step ahead of his competitors. That's what kept his company growing and his customers coming back. Today, his innovation legacy drives our innovative spirit. We are focused on innovation in everything we do, from how we build our stores to how we deliver groceries. In fact, we just placed an order for 20 Tesla electric semi-trucks for our distribution network. Now, by the way, that's not a firm order. In case they don't work, we'll back out and buy somebody else. But we want to get in line, so we're there. This is exciting. Yesterday, we announced that the new Albertsons digital marketplace is open for business. With over 40,000 specialty products available for delivery nationwide, we plan to offer 100,000 products on our digital network by the end of this year. So you can order all kinds of specialty products and it will be delivered to your door. By the way, we're just trying to keep up with that other guy. I can't remember his name. We're grateful to be an innovative Idaho company for nearly 80 years. And we look forward to the coming decades as we continue to strive to be the best supermarket in every neighborhood where we do business. Thanks for this tremendous award, and thanks for Joe, too. I'm very proud that you recognized him, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Bob, wonderful. Thank you so much. Let's hear it again for Bob Miller, you guys. It's wonderful. Really quickly, it was tremendous. When we first wanted to induct Bob, Bob was so gracious. Andy helped us get that audience with Bob and to be able to make that. And it is amazing what's happened in this valley because of Bob and because of Joe. Jamie, there's nothing else. Everywhere I go, I always see some talent around the area, whether it's IT or whatever it is, that came from people who have worked at Albertsons and have this. So Albertsons' fingerprints are all over this state and this community. Now, one other thing. I was driving when we saw this whole video that we shot over at Albertsons with Tim Garrigan and the Garrigan Lyman. We were sitting there, and I went over there to tell Bob, thank you for doing this, shooting this. On the way over, we were going to have Develop Idaho over at Stickle Sky Suites. On the way over, their CIO was going to come over and deliver all the new technologies that were going to take place at Albertsons, Anuj. And he called and he sent an email. And he said, "I'm sick. I can't make the flight." So I get over there and I just tell Bob, it's unfortunate we had Anuj was going to come up. I just was just to say it. And you know what happened? This is Bob Miller. Bob said, "Well, would you like someone else to take the place?" And before I could even say yes or no, Bob had already picked up the phone and was calling. And he called the president of the company, who is Jim Donald, right? And he talked to Jim, and Jim commits to come down. Why don't we have the president of the company come and talk about all this, how important technology is? Well, he hung up the phone with Jim, and he said, "By the way, Jim's going to come speak, but Jim, at 2:30 this afternoon, is going to be the CEO replacing me as the CEO of the company." And while he was speaking on stage at Develop Idaho, he came that. So thank you, Bob, for all this stuff. Bob's a can-do guy all the way through. So thank you, Bob. So congratulations to the Indeed's winners, to the incredible 15 companies on the Idaho Innovation Awards. Thank you so much, Jamie, for Joe, and accepting that for Joe Albertsons. And thanks so much, Bob Miller. And again, thanks, Steve Young. A very inspirational talk. Yeah. That was, I think Carolyn's right. You motivate. I went down and listened to you. Every time I listen to you, I could spend hours listening to you, Steve. Fantastic. So, and thank you so much to the BSU cheer squad, Kaz Landry, and the Bishop Kelly Band and Mark Peters, and of course to all of our sponsors, especially who joined us here tonight. Carolyn, have you been inspired?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I don't think there is anyone in this room that would say they haven't been inspired tonight. Would you agree? Tremendous program. Really, really wonderful. But before we're done and we're ready to wrap up for you, Jay, just stay right there because I have my own award that I'm giving out tonight. I think it's perfect for Jay, don't you? We've got the Hammy Award, the first time ever at the Hall of Fame celebration. And guess where we bought it? At Albertsons!
This is my Everest, right here. Yes. Thank you so much, Carolyn.
You bet.
You guys, thank you so much. Have a safe night, trip home, and we'll see you next year.
See you next year.
Thanks, Carolyn. Boise Startup Week this week. Come to it, Boise Startup Week.